into our second game of the night here at NACL. I'm Rapid, joined by Studio. We're gonna get out onto the Rift for Gold Gaming Los Angeles. Your team in the red taking on To Be Determined. They're playing with the Supp and Grimm Samurai in the jungle, and it's going to be interesting to see not only how he works together with Westrice in the top lane, but also as the continual development of Yazuki and Corki develops. Something interesting to compare here tonight. Both teams running mid, and we'll scout each other out. Interesting to see Bischu's choice of a Lux. It's one of his better champions. A lot of people just say, okay, Nidalee, okay, Zed, they're both really strong. But if we're going either one of those, Lux is one of his mains. And so bringing back a little bit of a remnant of Season 2. Be interesting to see how that works out for ggLA here tonight.
Of course, this aggressive invade coming out from TBD. They know that with Aatrox, he's one of the best level 1 champions in the game. Dark Flight is great for the jungle, so you can still get a stun and have good jungle clear. And of course, Annie, once again, another amazing level 1 champion. They can easily bully into the jungle from ggLA. So the wards came down for TBD. At the same time, a blue ward also placed by ggLA. Wards across the map. Pretty standard stuff nowadays. I feel like we don't see those aggressive level 1 fights anymore just because teams are so on the lookout for each other that no one is ever out of position quite so much anymore.
Minions have spawned.
With minions spawning here at the 1 minute 30-second mark, the deep wards out more for ggLA, 2 down around the red buff, 1 at the blue, and while TBD are spread out very defensively, it's pretty much equal vision for both teams as deep wards placed on both sides. Minions getting to lane. It's going to be a bottom side jungle start for both Grimm Samurai and for Corki. And Corki took a couple of games off actually in week 3, I believe it was. And so it's nice to see him back on the team. That synergy continuing to be developed as To Be Determined make it to their lanes. It's standard duo lane setup in the bottom, solos in mid and top. It's going to be Westrice going in for some early trades on a Yazuki.
All right, lanes are set up. Now we get to see the 2v2 bot lane. This is the matchup I'm excited for because Jinx is interesting in a situation like this. Switcheroo is what you max out first for the range generally, but at the beginning of the match, he just does not have a lot on Otter. Otter can trade more, he can do more damage, and he has more range when he has the attack speed bonus. So the question is now going to be, can Jinx actually survive the early laning phase? With someone like Annie to back her up, though, Annie has incredibly high early game damage. Incinerate has very, very good base values. The fact that Zyra actually takes until level 3 to really get started, it's going to be cool to see how this lane develops. Definitely early game support versus, slightly later early game support, and early game carry versus a very, very late game hyper carry.
All right, so like we mentioned, we're going to see the first, one of the first showings of Jinx here in week 4 of TBD. Yazuki gonna throw down that counter strike and a nice bait by Westrice. He baited out the cooldown, so for the next 14 seconds, Yazuki has no AoE stun. So if Grimm Samurai wants to get in onto this, no Sonic Wave connecting onto Yazuki in that top lane. So Grimm Samurai is just gonna 2v1 this, go for the dive underneath turret. Yazuki probably knows he's gonna get dove here, so he has to be prepared for that. There's gonna be the aggro taken there by Grimm Samurai, trading that away. Westrice just continuing to trade tank that turret, taking Yazuki down to about 300 hit points.
And now they put him into a position to dive. Grimm Samurai can tank the turret, of course, and survive with his passive Vi in the area to try and counter this off. Yazuki, to go for the dive, it's gonna happen right about now.
Looking for the stun underneath the turret. There's Westrice getting locked up, knocked up, taken down. First blood for Yazuki as he survives, gets ignited, will stay alive in lane, but perfect counter gank by Corki. There's that synergy I was talking about.
What was really cool about that was you could see what both teams were trying to do. TBD was waiting on the counter-strike to come out. It was either Yazuki was going to be so low that they could just dive him and even counter-strike wouldn't be enough from the spell damage of Aatrox and Lee Sin, or they can do what they were trying to do and dodge out the counter-strike, and then they could dive him immediately afterwards because he doesn't have a long cooldown. Bischu taking some damage mid lane, to be able to escape that most likely, but those Orianna auto attacks do hurt quite a bit. Corki is coming back around, and actually Arthelon's still in the area.
There's gonna be a Bischu walking right into that barrier shield. So much raw health there. And it's actually Arthelon to go down. Bischu, health potion running, survives. Local courts died a little bit in that team fight, but that makes it I guess a 1-for-1 if you want to count the death by throws. So still 0-2. Excellent performance there by Bischu. Where all that health came from, I have no idea, but I actually do. It's those 2 spells. It's still
it's the shields.
Yeah, his double shields right on top, and that feeling when you go in for the kill onto a low health Bischu, and all of a sudden he gets 2 shields from his prism, and then also the barrier on top of that is actually the prismatic barrier that gave him those 2 shields. So
that prismatic barrier, and as well as the barrier summoner spell, are
all the barriers.
But prismatic barrier especially, it's an amazing level 1 skill. People tend to ignore it because, you know, level 1 skill, you don't max it out first, but it's got 100 shield at this point in the game. 100 shield per cast, or per hit. So he shielded himself for 200 right there. And Arthelon actually worked his way through all those shields, almost picked up the kill still, but it just was not quite enough. And that's unfortunate for him, but hey, when you're going up against a Lux, you have to really be aware of a shield, especially when she's packing up that barrier. Grimm Samurai did go bot lane looking for a gank, unfortunately did not really work out. Ezreal a bit too slippery, Zyra a bit too far back. Good position from NydusHerMain because Zyra is incredibly easy to kill in bot lane ganks.
Now, other than Zed, it's been a while since I've seen Bischu play a champion he doesn't build Chalice of Harmony on, and giving him a lot of mana, a lot of pushing power. And against Arthelon, whose Orianna is actually really, really well practiced. It's nice to see a champion like Lux coming back and actually able to check it out bottom lane, though. Otter gonna get slowed out there, jumped on, will Arcane shift away, gets hit by the zap, so very slow under the turret. But with no minion wave to take it up, he's gonna back out alive. Otter, the source of a lot of really, really strong talk. Ooh, top lane as well. Westrice can't finish the sentence as he's gonna go down. Once again, tries to queue off to a minion on the run. Westrice behind enemy lines. We're gonna be seeing if he can get away from that. No wards in that top lane, so he's just gonna be forced to safeguard away to a creep. Corki is gonna get slowed. There's the leap strike by Yazuki. The empowered auto attack. One more hit to take him down. Not in range for the stun. The snipe not in time by Bischu. So close, and yet so far, Westrice, the best Strice, makes it out alive.
Unfortunately, Corki out of mana in that fight via a very, very mana-dependent champion. Otter gets the passive from Grimm Samurai. The tower will be going down, though. ROBERTxLEE going forward towards Otter. Gets a slow onto him, but with that flash burn, he should be safe. Grimm Samurai has not had a lot of success so far across the map. You know, he went bot lane, missed Otter, just got some damage from the rest of the team. He went mid lane, couldn't secure anything. Top lane, he finally got Westrice killed in the end. Not him specifically, but that pushing potential from Aatrox, and he did get a pick off onto Zyra that we did not see.
Oh, immediate stun. Bubbadub drops it onto Corki. Otter attacks coming out from over the wall. Grimm Samurai very low, but continuing damage to come out from that dual lane from ggLA. It's gonna be the first kill. ROBERTxLEE taking out Corki, but Otter fires back with the kill onto Bubbadub. It's a 2 for 2 so far, or 1 for 1, meaning 2 total kills so far. Just trading out around that dragon area. No dragon actually done. A nice sort of skirmish. Trades out back pretty evenly, but trading support for jungler leaves a little bit of a better favor there for TBD.
It would be, except because the bot lane was forced back, all of a sudden we have free farm coming in from Otter. Bischu's still holding mid. Yazuki's free farming top lane. Like, every lane is still farming right now for ggLA, while only Westrice was getting any sort of CS there. So it was the low HP that actually kind of really cost him right there. But Grimm Samurai, he did what he needed to do in the early game. He played aggressively. It did not really work out until he finally went bot lane and picked up NydusHerMain, or NydusHerMain now. And with that pickoff, that was the entire setup. He did his job as an Aatrox. He got an early push and an early kill. That Blood Will passive makes him so powerful at killing those early objectives. And all of a sudden, Jinx is ahead in CS, 67 to 54, and she's going to pick up some more as that creep wave goes down. They can now try and rotate towards other lane, pressure Lux right now. While she doesn't have strong wave clear, she has very little AP, and unfortunately her E, the Lucent Singularity, won't be clearing the creep waves on her own. It means it can actually now pressure across the map after pushing in bot lane. So Grimm Samurai could not do a lot early on, but he's done what he needed to do, and that might be enough, as actually Corki looking mid lane for some possible aggression.
His level 6 does have that assault and battery. Arthelon level 7, as well as picking up a red buff or a blue buff here. Not gonna snipe it away, so close. Otter, please. My heart cannot handle these Otter shenanigans. Bottom lane, he's been getting the job done, has picked up a kill for himself, but you know, sometimes you're doing really well, you're just not doing well enough, and especially against ROBERTxLEE, who's in lane, farming it up right now. Gonna get that Bloodthirster extremely quickly, gonna have that way ahead of the Trinity Force from Otter, and that's gonna be a big power spike for TBD. They're looking to put some pressure onto the middle lane. Command Shockwave does not land. Westrice overextending, hits onto Bischu, flashes away, but there's Assault and Battery trapped underneath the turret. Bischu Corquez taking down Westrice between the turret. Yazuki, he's top lane. It's like, oh, that's where my lane went. And between the turrets, pretty good place for him to go. And Yazuki content to stay up top lane. He's going to be the one farming it out for ggLA. And Jax with free farm also going to put a lot of pressure on the turret as both teams group up mid.
Lanes are just falling apart right now. Actually, flash from Bubbadub going for NydusHerMain. That is a dead Zyra, eliminated off the map. Everything just going for her. That's a good pickup. They do pick up NydusHerMain, but that's a flash from Annie. That's a great initiation. That's going to be on cooldown for about 5 minutes now. And they don't really stop the aggression from ggLA. They're still pushing mid lane. They're still farming bot lane. Every lane is still farming. And that really is a scary part of this game. If Jinx does not have a proper defense line, like Lee Sin cannot really protect Jinx that well if he's dying instantly in a fight. Orianna, if she doesn't have enough AP, she really needs it to scale. She doesn't have great base values. They're okay. They're definitely not bad. But compared to a character like Zed, who doesn't require quite as many items, Orianna usually requires her Athenes and then maybe a Death Cap Rizonias to really be effective. If TBD falls too far behind in that respect, the outright CS war, that's going to be a huge detriment to them. They have comparable gold, but that is with a tower kill. And picking up a turret is not the hardest thing to do, especially if you end up winning a fight, which is very possible right now for ggLA with that gold advantage. It's not huge, but it's enough.
Something I wanted to highlight there, you'll notice that after dropping the Tibbers stun to pick up the kill mid lane, Bubbadub walked over to Dragon and tried to use Mr. Tibbers to kill a ward, and while Tibbers can auto-attack, that counts as a spell damage because it's the R, it's the ultimate ability there for Annie, which doesn't actually deal damage to wards because, you know, spells don't damage wards. So it's nice to see this huge giant bear wailing away at this ward as does absolutely nothing. Top lane, the Westrice takes a lot of damage, uses that Dragon Rage to kick Yazuki away, and now realizes that even though he got a little bit of an early advantage, well, early on, it's starting to fade away after so much farm going Yazuki's way. A level advantage to 0-2 versus 1-0, always going to be a little bit of a rough fight.
Now, the saving grace is ROBERTxLEE doing so well for TBD. 3-0-0, 103 CS. He is the king of bot lane right now. He can pressure, he can trade with Otter. Otter can't really do a whole lot because when that pow comes out, if Otter's in range, he's just going to get shredded, especially if a zap does land as well.
Oh my goodness, Bischu, please last one more auto attack and it's going to pop the passive. No, just barely, not enough. Grimm Samurai is going to have his heart rushing as he walks back out of there. Blood well intact, so not getting taken out. Otter, once again, just the tip of that missing Grimm Samurai will make it back to base, but once again, Yazuki out of mana top lane. Westrice almost out of health. Will war jump over the wall. Flash in from Yazuki. He's pretty convinced he has that. Ignite goes down in Yazuki. Taking out Westrice in a 1v1. It's NydusHerMain continuing to fight around Dragon Area. Assault and Battery with the last bit of Corquez's HP. Uses that Blast Shield passive to stay alive. So many shields coming out here. Bischu are going to pop the barrier. Flashes directly in to the zap. Gets taken out as ROBERTxLEE will counter flash to pick up the kill.
And look at Otter, no true shot barrage, which would be so useful in that situation. These snipes are not working out for him. People tend to forgo Ezreal's ultimate as having a cooldown because it is very short, especially with that Mystic cooldown reduction, or Mystic shot cooldown reduction. Unfortunately, though, he needed that for that fight to help finish off Bubbadub. The team fights are winning top lane, but unfortunately, with the pick-off potential from Grimm Samurai, with the pickoff potential from Arthelon with his ultimate, it just takes one person cut out of position for a brief second, and so far it's been NydusHerMain. NydusHerMain is the slow character. There's a lot of range on Lux, there's a lot of mobility on Ezreal, and of course Corquez is Vi, who is both fast and mobile. And then you run into this situation where NydusHerMain, he's got good range, but anytime he gets in relative close range to Bubbadub, they're just going to pick him off. And we see the results. It's so easy to snowball a fight, especially when Nydus can't get a good Stranglethorns off, when he can't get good Grasping Binds off. They need that CC to help set up Lux, to help set up all of their skill shots, which they have quite a few of over on the side of ggLA.
Dragon under fire, damage coming in. ggLA will take it down. Yazuki coming down from that top lane leaves his turret, and so Westrice will be able to trade the turret away for the Dragon. It's going to be another true shot barrage coming out from Otter. Does hit every single one of those creeps, kills none of them, so somewhat unfortunate there is Otter not going to be able to pick up any extra CS. Top turret will fall. Westrice picks up the third turret of the game for TBD. And so while it looks like ggLA, they're picking up kills, they're taking objectives like Dragon, they are losing out on turrets as all three outer turrets now down in favor of TBD.
Unfortunately, Ezreal at that point in the game usually takes level 11.
Oh, the snipe!
Oh!
Bischu!
Grimm Samurai
Passive!
is gone. I mean, that's a blood well.
Yeah,
That's a passive.
he's
That's not a kill.
still alive, so that's worth something, but still.
Yeah, that is a huge thing to pick up because now Grimm Samurai, he's built relatively tanky, but he hasn't quite finished his Spirit of the Ancient Golem yet, so he's not that tanky, and as a result, if he dives in aggressively, what's going to happen, Grimm Samurai is just going to die immediately. Like, you lose a lot of that presence of Aatrox when you do not have the Bloodwell passive up. So it is not a kill, it is not 300 gold in the coffers for Bischu. At the same time, it is a very, very solid pickup that does nullify a lot of aggression from Aatrox and from TBD. You hate to see that passive go like that because it really does neuter him not to have it until he gets super beefy.
Yeah, the other thing to notice is that with Athene's Unholy Grail and Blue Buff, Bischu has 40% CDR. Finalis Falcon already back off cooldown, whereas Grimm Samurai's passive is going to have to wait for another 2.5 minutes, so it'll be a while before that comes around again. So a nice trade-off there. Nice sight. Bischu is almost on point. And the same thing for Otter. This sort of Lux Ezreal combo is so cool from ggLA because at any point in time, if you lock somebody up long enough, you can just snipe them away at very, very long range. So to see if those combo together. I remember if you guys have ever seen Mad Life's Lux combo video, he combos that with Ezreal Ultimate all the time, and granted that's in a support situation, so it'd be nice to see a little bit more damage coming out there. The skill shot's completely whipping there by Bischu. It's Corki gonna try to set up for another laser. This one does not take Grimm Samurai down, but he does make it out very, very low.
And that's a lot of the counterpoint for Jinx because they do have a lot of range CC and a lot of range initiation and damage. Jinx is a squishy champion. Oh, flash from Bubbadub.
Double stun. Yazuki getting in there. Bubbadub will stay alive, but it's ROBERTxLEE. Crazy damage from behind. He's going to get excited. Yazuki running away. Not quite as excited. Going to get hit out there by those traps. Yazuki hopping away. Won't be able to escape. Oh my goodness. ROBERTxLEE does not have the Super Mega Jethrock. Going to go for the zap. Can't hit it. Yazuki kind of channeling his inner Westrice. It's his turn to make it out alive.
Barely getting on out of there by the skin of his teeth. Unfortunately, that is the issue with a Lux comp. You know, the second Lux hit, actually Otter in the bot lane gets kicked away, trying to survive this fight though.
One more attack and Westrice will take him down. Now it's Corki gonna get its attack slowed down there. That's auto attack reset. Dark Flight going in there, not able to knock up Corki. Gonna get slowed out there. The Wicked Blades connect, and it's not gonna look good for Corki. No mana, just his movement speed to take him into the brush. It will be a dodge of those Wicked Blades, but Westrice takes him down. Second kill of the game. Now it's Yazuki coming in, trying to get in on the action. Won't be able to stun out anyone as Westrice and Grimm Samurai disengage.
Yazuki's still going for the chase. He has his flash up in a couple seconds, so a Dark Flight could be punished. Grimm Samurai, though, does have mobility boots, does have the Dark Flight proc. Yazuki flashes forward. He's not in range, though. He's just not fast enough, and now that flash burn to help farm some minions, unfortunately. That hard initiate from Bubbadub is crucial to TBD, because what happened once Bischu was locked down, you know, NydusHerMain goes down instantly. Just combined with the Jinx ult, he's not surviving. And Bischu, without any sort of backup like that, what can he do? He can land some damage, he can try and go for the burst, but it's just so many people focusing down such a squishy target that he can't do anything. So they need to protect Lux, but it's hard to do that against any initiation. It's almost instant. There's about 0.25, 0.3 seconds to react to a Timberstone with a flash, which pretty tough. We'll call that pretty tough.
Yeah, I think human reaction time is like 0.4 seconds, so it's going to take a lot of reflexes to get out of there in time. You really do have to predict it, and predicting things kind of difficult. Predicting Yazuki to flash in there, not something I would have necessarily predicted, but you know, sometimes it's sending a message. He was going up against Boots of Mobility, but he did have a Zeal in his inventory, so he's really hoping that he could match that up. Couldn't quite find the chase. Flash down for another 4 minutes, so have to see if that comes into this next fight.
You mentioned prediction. That's going to be the bigger issue for Bischu, Otter, and just that long range damage. They have to predict. They have to have someone either land a skill shot in advance or combine that with a Vi ultimate.
Bischu snipes the blue buff away. A nice pickup there. Keeps it from getting stolen out. Keeps it in ggLA's hand. And now once again back at max CDR. Has a large rod this time around. So see a lot more damage coming out from Finalis Falcon.
However, the ultimate is down for 40 seconds. Like, it's not a long cooldown. It's 40-second cooldown, the ultimate, but that is a chance, a very short chance for TBD to pressure with that down. Westrice going to be caught out, but all the members of TBD are nearby. Dragon's Rage just doesn't care about that.
He's spinning in the air as he's getting kicked backwards, and I can only imagine what that feels like as a Jax. You're just like, all right, this takes some coordination. It's nice to see Yazuki's got his moves together. It's got ROBERTxLEE, Westrice, Grimm, Samurai, Arthelon all in that bottom lane. Just a little bit of a split to the side as now 4 members strong. It's going to be a little Orphan Annie all by herself, trying to make it to that dragon area. And time respawns in 2 seconds. So nice to see TBD in position to take it down. Turrets, dragons now going their way. Kills as well. They will secure for themselves a 2,000 to 3,000 gold leave off of that objective.
Of course, with that pressure, they just want to make sure that they're never in a standard siege situation. They don't want to be outside the turret trying to push it down against Bischu, against Otter. They have too much wave clear. They have too many ways to poke them out and catch them out of position. And if you see the way TBD is moving across the map, they're staying in lane for a brief moment to either set up a trap or clear the wave and leave. That's just because with the way their comp works, if they ever sit in lane, they'll just get poked down and die. So it's up to ggLA to apply the pressure to really move forward and make some action happen, because TBD is not taking any sort of bait. They're not falling into their own traps. And if ggLA can apply the right pressure, just avoid a flash from Bubbadub, which is up in about 20 seconds, they can start taking these turrets down.
And just look at all the things that Arthelon has to dodge. He's got grasping roots coming at him, light binding there from Bischu as well, and just one skill shot after another from Otter fired his way. Did manage to dodge all of them, but a lot of pressure put onto this middle turret, and with the turrets 2 in favor of TBD, ggLA still have their work cut out for them pushing these objectives.
Or Annie does have the ultimate up. It's up to Bischu and Otter to stay very far back. They cannot let the Annie get anywhere near close to them, or they will be flashed on immediately. And of course, Lee Sin up top side just pressuring those turrets. Unfortunately, ggLA cannot really apply the same pressure because of Orianna. Orianna's just wave clearing a bit too much. Both teams have such good wave clear that it's hard for either side to set up a good siege. However, it's ggLA, if they're on the offensive, they can at least try and land a binding, they can at least try and land a root from Zyra, and just try and catch someone off that way.
Farm continues to come the way of ggLA, and I really feel like we talked about the carry potential from Yazuki's top lane Jax, but as Bischu continues to stack up that ability power, it's kind of like the anti-Orianna. While Orianna wants to be in that fight, a little bit closer range, throwing out the ball, getting command shockwaves off on multiple people, it's Lux that's looking to snipe things out from afar. And if you want to compare shockwaves to lasers from Lux, definitely going to go in Bischu's favor. Able to get a couple of nice snipes so far this game. Haven't really seen a huge team fight where that's been a big game changer, but the thing that's actually been more game changing is not the AP carries, but rather the AP in the support role in Bubbadub, who's had some crazy flash Tibber stuns and really has set up ROBERTxLEE to be where he is, 7-0 and 0.
7-0-0, no assists. Jinx wants all the money for herself, but they still haven't really had a standard team fight. It's been quick skirmishes, quick catches from either side. So Jinx in a team fight becomes this different beast because Yazuki has a target to gun for, and it really becomes this game of protect the Jinx. At the same time, Arthelon is a big enough threat and does have that shield to help protect that Jinx, so who they really focus down is going to be an important question. They can blow by ult, they can blow Jax's initiation with Leap Strike and Counter Strike to kill Jinx, but then if Arthelon's able to go ahead and help shield Jinx, if Westrice can kick away Jax, a kick on Jax will be huge in a team fight. That's going to be the question. And will it keep Jinx alive? Probably, but maybe not through a Lux ult, maybe not through a True Shot Barrage.
ROBERTxLEE still with that sort of reverse super spy score at 007. He's been a huge factor in the back, and keep in mind with that rocket launcher, gets like 700 range. It's really ridiculous when you turn that on. You lose some attack speed, but you do get to stay safe in fights, and just the damage that's starting to come out. He has that Bloodthirster static shiv. I've seen a lot of Caitlyn start to build that. I was casting the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne qualifiers earlier on. Every single game had a Caitlyn, and every single Caitlyn built Bloodthirster static shiv. Great for wave clear, and you can see that for ROBERTxLEE, getting a lot of extra poke and damage off of that. Fifth turret falls for TBD as they push the top one down. Last outer turret alive down there in the bottom lane. Speaking of that bottom lane, Yazuki taking out 2 on his trip down there. Even can't quite get base turret damage off, but is a very strong force. Backing off, clear out the jungle as well, and Yazuki's just completely like, the rest of his team's off doing other stuff. Yazuki's just going where he pleases.
There's a trap coming out from TBD. They got Westrice in the bot lane. This is interesting. Normally you don't see traps occur when there's someone split off like this, especially across the map, but they know that Westrice is hard to deal with. And they actually do have protection with Yazuki walking across the ward. Corki is in the area, but it looks like he might just have a straight up 1v1 with Westrice trying to play the juke games.
That's going to be Yazuki down there at bottom lane. He's trying to trade this away. Last Whisper is down there from Westrice, but he's not going to be dropping that bow on Yazuki. He's going to get some help there from Corki. This time he's going to flash in, gets a little bit stunned out there. Knows his sleep strike cooldown, jumps in Corki to pick up the kill, and one more kill going the way of ggLA. Nice 2v1, kind of cheating in that one-on-one matchup. But in the meantime, focus bottom means that to be determined. They're sitting on the Baron, half HP, and nobody anywhere near. And we did talk about the double snipe potential. Bischu and Otter, can you do it? Very low health, but just not in range, and to be determined. Off of that push bottom lane, take away the Baron, but can they make it back to base in time as Corki and Yazuki try to take down the first base turret of the game?
They're going to start applying pressure. No one from ggLA is there to interrupt it, so they should be able to get back relatively safely. And that Baron gold is enough to secure home guard boots as well, so if they did try and push, it's going to be so dangerous. But that is the issue when you try and stop Elise hidden like that. TBD playing that perfectly. They lost Westrice. That sucks. Sorry for the guy, but he knew what he was doing when he went for that aggression. He knew how easily he could be caught out. And what was the price for Westrice's life? They got a Baron buff off that. Aatrox, of course, incredibly good at clearing and tanking Baron, just with his innate tankiness and his incredibly high attack speed when that ultimate is procced. And ROBERTxLEE with Pow Pow out, like 1.9 attack speed, just shredding through Baron. And you mentioned that early build, Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, and Static Shiv now finish. It just deals so much quick damage. It's very, very hard to stop. It was about a 20-second Baron, and that at this point in the game, 26 minutes, that is so fast.
And that really means that the second you see your opponent's out of position, Otter, Arcane shifting away. All right, no harm, no foul. We're just going to reset everything there. Otter makes it out, Arthelon as well, but it's so interesting to me to see ggLA. Their positioning looks like they're 10, 20,000 gold behind, but the gold difference only about 2,000 right now, so very, very close, even though with that Baron buff, TBD a lot stronger than they look.
TBD, it's not a huge gold lead, but because they're playing such a defensive comp, because Bischu and Ezreal have to be so far back, and right now Yazuki's been focused on dealing with Westrice lanes, it means they don't have their big follow-up to Vi. So let's say Corki does go for an initiate, there's still nothing to stop Bischu from being dove on, or it's not even enough to possibly kill ROBERTxLEE. So until they can contain Westrice, they're not going to have Yazuki, and until they have Yazuki, they're going to play super far back and super defensively. Also, they're going up against the Baron buff, which is terrifying. You never ever want to be going up against one of those, especially when you're behind even by only 3,000 gold. Like you mentioned, that is not a whole lot.
Now, TBD took a little bit of time to start their lanes pushing out on either side. Outlane had a huge wave that's good guy ROBERTxLEE was nice enough to take care of for the rest of his team. And now that TBD have their lanes pushing right where they want them, they have ggLA right where they want them too, and that is, they're supposed to be pushed into their base. If you take a look down at that bottom lane, Westrice and Yazuki gonna go at it once again. Grimm Samurai continuing to push in. Arthelon, ROBERTxLEE continue to poke in onto that turret. Corki looks to initiate. No vault breakers just yet. All vaults staying intact for the time being.
Westrice moving towards that mid lane. They'll have a brief moment for a 5v4, but Yazuki is still bot lane. At the same time, Lee Sin in these team fights is all about quick bursts. He's not super effective. He's not particularly tanky and goes down quickly. Yazuki gonna spot out Westrice. They're kind of both juking around for position, trying to jockey themselves into a good spot, but actually, onto Arthelon, not a whole lot of damage. He's still at about half HP, and that Baron buff will regen him. Like, they're just looking for an opening over on the side of TBD. And ggLA just do not have a chance to get Yazuki back with the team, and because of that, they're suffering for it. They can't start a team fight. They are up against a Baron team, but Baron only provides offensive stats and a little bit of regen. Oh, NydusHerMain might be going down.
Oh, gets caught out there. Nydus over the wall. RAPIDcasting legendary 8-0-0.
They need to start a fight, but without NydusHerMain, they don't have any follow-up CC. Aggression now coming on to Otter. They need to catch someone out right now. This might be their only chance, and it's Grimm Samurai with a Bloodwell.
Yeah, but the turret goes down. Jinx gets excited. ROBERTxLEE is 8-0, putting a lot of damage in onto the first inhibitor of the game. Poke damage to come out from Corquez, or rather from Otter. Corquez not with the engage in time, and that's the first inhibitor down. Just off of all the double snipes, 2 for 0. Grimm Samurai's passes down, gets knocked out of the air. Anti-aircraft by there, taking him down. The zap coming backwards, stopping Yazuki in his tracks, and TBD disengaged the double snipes from ggLA. That's 30-second death timers, and now they are on the aggression, or on the
aggression, on the advance. They have to do something rapid. They have to do something right now. Like, we've seen what happens when the siege comes out. Orianna does not have blue buff, so she's going to run out of mana and doesn't have that max CDR, so this might be their chance to actually get this inhibitor turret down. Only 15 seconds till Grimm Samurai is up. He does not have his passive, of course. Westrice, he's up in 15 as well, so it's going to be a very short time span. They have to make it happen now. Arthelon is caught out, though.
Dive through the turret, no Zhonya's, no defenses at all, and he just explodes. Now Bubbadub the next to fall. The dive through the turret so successful for ggLA. Now it's ROBERTxLEE versus Yazuki. He's gonna get turned around, knocked up there. He's gonna be dodging all the auto attacks, 100% from that spin to win. He's gonna back off for now. First base turret down for ggLA. They leave the inhibitor alive. Super Minion's gonna force them out along with the rest of the team, but such a well-coordinated dive through the turret. Now it's the rubber band effect. It's just one low health champion after another. Now Westrice gonna disengage. There's the knockup, force the flashes. Now Westrice running from both Yazuki and Corquez, tries to go back in, but will get taken out. Bischu on a rampage. Now 5, 2, and 4. The turnaround only grabs 1 kill, but still ggLA continue to take out members of TBD. I want to see both of these teams like actually make it back to base, heal up back to full, because it seems like with them both putting on so much pressure up and down the mid lane, it's just aggression right back and forth. The inhibitor down for ggLA though, so we'll have to be a little bit careful.
ggLA definitely not coming out ahead in the end. And actually, Bischu! Oh my god, Bischu walking on the ward, getting sniped out, rest in peace. Lux definitely putting that in favor now of TBD. But they got the inhibitor down, and we've seen what happens if ggLA is not on the aggression, if they're not moving forward as a team, if they're not at the enemy turrets. What's happening? They're being pushed in their base, Yazuki's being forced to split off and deal with that pesky Lee Sin. Westrice is 2-6, and that score is amazing. Like, with the way he's playing in such an aggressive and forceful manner where it's just hard to deal with him. And that's putting Arthelon on the red buff, almost picks up NydusHerMain, but that's putting them in such a good position. So now they don't have NydusHerMain. Nydus is just being picked off left and right. Such a squishy support. He's susceptible to Orianna ultimates, unfortunately. And this is now TBD's game again. Like, they're back in control. They have that inhibitor down. ggLA have to make a pick off again. They have to make a play. And that is a dangerous position to be in. Baron should be up in about 5 seconds, so this is going to be a chance. They don't have Westrice, but they do have Yazuki in the area.
Now Arthelon's going to be huge. He just picked himself up a fresh red buff off of that steal, so he's going to have that as well as the ball to just completely zone ggLA away. Bischu does have that Finalis Funkin, and there's 30 seconds until True Shot, so it's up to Bischu to steal it. No attempt. There's the laser, just a little bit too late. Not able to take down Baron Nashor. Westrice bottom lane 1v1. Westrice wins it, 150 hit points. Taking down Yazuki in the one-on-one.
Counter-Strike not coming up in time. Unfortunately, that half or so second delay, just a bit too much, and it forces Yazuki down. This is a dangerous situation again, because we're going to see ggLA once again back in their base against a Baron buff team. And they couldn't really stop it. They had Yazuki go bottom for the 1v1, and without Jax, they just do not have the team fight. It's weird to see how important Jax is in these team fights. Not so much just to dive, that is part of it, but they just need his threatening presence. You normally see him as a scary character for his dive, but if he's not there, it's actually Otter being caught out top now. This is dangerous. This is going to be so bad for ggLA when he does go down.
Man, even without that movement speed and passive from Jinx, ROBERTxLEE should be pretty excited about that. Taking out what is now the second death. Just picks continue to come the way of TBD. They're going to push down top lane and have the inhibitor still down there in mid. We'll respond here. A lot of damage come out over the wall. Bubbadub down to 400-500 HP off of just one spell combo there by Bischu. And if you look at the minions continue to pile in there one after another. There'll be a lot of pressure onto that middle or the top turret. Stranglethorns go down, gets the knock up onto Grimm Samurai, but Not a whole lot traded back at TBD. They're going to push in for their second inhibitor, take it down. ROBERTxLEE takes it out. Now 9-0-1. He decided to start sharing, giving away an assist.
That's not how you play an AD carry. Roberto giving away an assist. That's okay, though. He's on 0-1. They have Westrice here. That Baron buff means we've seen he can duel Yazuki at this point. And actually, now this is a chance. ggLA might be going for it.
Massacre from Grimm Samurai takes out the inhibitor, but the laser coming out from Bischu, able to almost take out Arthelon. It's one long-range snipe after another. Otter makes it back to the turret. No follow-up from Sonic Wave. They're on Westrice. Grimm Samurai very low, but still has his passive. Now it's Bischu and Nydus underneath their Nexus turrets. One about to drop is 5 members of ggLA. Otter with the 1v1 on Westrice in the bottom lane, and now collectively with Bischu trying to force that as the flash to initiate there, but it's gonna be Arthelon dropping down. Otter trades his life for that, and it's up to Bischu. Last Nexus turret goes down. He's gonna flash in, goes for the laser onto Robert, does not care. Nexus balls to be determined in a hard-fought 35-minute game. 10-6 and 17-14 in kills. TBD will take out Gold Gaming Los Angeles.